Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to today's webinar, Business Model Canvas. My name is Christina Gonzalez. I am the admin here for the Central Valley SCORE chapter. Just going to start off by saying that this webinar is being recorded and the presentation and link to the recording will be emailed to you. If you have any questions, please type it in the chat. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Before we get started, we would just like to launch a quick poll. We'll do the opening poll. You should see a pop-up on your screen. Tom, if you could please read out the questions for everyone, please.
Happily. The first question is your business established or a startup? Second question, do you have a business plan?
Thank you, Tom. We'll give everybody about 30 seconds to answer those, and we'll share the results for everyone. And go ahead and read the results for everyone, Tom, please, whenever we're done with the poll, please.
Okay, I just closed it. 44% of you have already established your business. 33% of you have a new business startup and 22% not in business yet. So a little over half of you are not quite established yet. 56% of you have a business plan. Congratulations. And 44% of you are yet to develop your business plan. And I see someone's come on. I've got a cousin on here. Cousin Janet showed up. We haven't met yet, Janet, but you have a great last name.
Thank you so much, Tom. So let's go ahead and get started with the webinar. We will go ahead and pass it to our first facilitator, which is Robert Garcia. Bob?
Thank you, Christina, and let me offer my welcome to everybody to today's business webinar, Business Model Canvas. It's my pleasure today to be working with Tom Sims, who's also a co-chapter chair of Central Valley SCORE. Tom is a certified mentor, facilitator, and what we call a subject matter expert, and his expertise is in nonprofits. And before we get started, I just want to put in a plug for our mentors. We have a lot of the subject matter experts that are experienced in one specific area that can be very helpful to all of those people who are starting a business or getting in or have established a business and have specific questions about a specific subject. So you'll find us in this webinar constantly referring to mentors, and hopefully that you'll be able to take us up on that recommendation and get a mentor for yourself. Next slide, please. So this is typical as a previous business owner. We want to get in business for ourselves for a variety of reasons, but there's always that fear of failure. And I'll tell you, failure is very real. Being a retired banker and having financed many businesses in and around the state of California, the fear of failure is real, but the motivation for success is a big motivator. And hopefully working through people at SCORE and other agencies that are available to you, you will have the answers to your questions, and the fear of failure will be less, and you will be more successful. As we'll point out later, your success is our success. And so we'll work with you from beginning to end and during your time in business to help answer those questions that you have. Next slide, please. So what we're asking you to do before we get started is, if you don't have a mentor and you're working with SCORE, please get a mentor. If you haven't started your business, we highly recommend that you attend our 5-step series of simple steps for starting your business, which will begin June 3rd at 10 o'clock. And you can register online here. And it will take you what we consider a cycle from the concept of what your business plan idea may be to the very end and through to financing and getting the doors open. Between that, we'll discuss with you how to analyze your market, how to find your target market, who you're going to sell to, your distribution centers, advertising, marketing, accounting, and financing, which is a favorite subject of mine, being a retired banker. Next slide, please. So why do we recommend a business model canvas, excuse me. The business model canvas is a strategic management tool to quickly and easily define and communicate a business idea or concept. It's a one-page document which works through the fundamental elements of a business or product, structuring an idea in a coherent way. It's popular because it's one page, describes your customers and products and other key success factors. It's easy to use and it's free. It helps focus, improves and clarifies focus on what you're driving, what's driving your business. It is not to replace a business plan, but consider it as an outline for the business plan that you're going to prepare. You should prepare. And you'll find that throughout our various SCORE webinars, we'll talk about business plans and how important we think they are and how you can use them effectively. And the business model canvas has a lot of flexibility. It's easier to tweak a model and try other things and something that's sitting on a single page. And that's why we use it. Early on, you should use it. Certainly when you're starting your business, you should take a look at working with a canvas, a one-page canvas, and then develop from that your business plan. Next slide, please. Tom?
Thank you, Bob. We're going to do a little exercise with the canvas right now. You can take notes, you can draw pictures, but we're going to take a real life example of a self-service laundry to help understand each of the components on the canvas. Let me just suggest a couple things to you with regard to the canvas itself as we look at it. Let's look at a blank of that canvas. Christina, in the next slide. Actually, we're not there yet. Sorry about that. A+ Laundry is going to be our example. And before I just kind of go through their story, let me just say this about the canvas. It's kind of like a mind map if you've been, if you relate to that. It's graphical and yet you write things in it. You could take the concept and put it on a huge whiteboard, or you could, take some butcher paper and put it up on the board, or you could make multiple copies, but you just brainstorm it. And, you throw away a few copies and put the good information on the next one, and you just keep working on it. You don't edit yourself until you're done. And then you get all your ideas down, you get all the truth down, and then you have one sheet that you can work from. Well, that's kind of like what A+ Laundromat did. When they had a vision to expand from one location to 8 locations in just 36 months. This entrepreneur, somewhere here in California, grew at that rate, 1 to 8. And she did so with branding her name and branding her value and creating value that enabled her to grow. In the beginning, we have to learn how to scale daily tasks, then to hire and train people to multiply that task in order to leverage time and leverage energy and leverage resources. You have to find the right resources and the right vendors to open other locations. This is what she did with A+ Laundromat. It was necessary to have people on the team. And then she came to understand leasing versus owning locations whenever feasible, and not only locations, but her equipment. And then understanding marketing and social media offerings. You can have the best idea, the best product, the best organization, the best everything. But until you learn to market that, no one is going to know to do business with you. And A+ Laundromat learned the secrets of good marketing. And then she developed customer loyalty and reward system. So she rewarded her loyal customers and they kept coming back. So the next slide shows you, it's not a blank, but it's kind of a blank. It defines what we're looking for in each column. If you look over to the far right, it's number one. You want to list your top 3 segments that provide the most revenue. Now you'll understand that a little better when we flesh it out with her example of what she did. But as you look at the business and the product or service that you're offering and segmentize it, what are those and which are the ones that bring you the most revenue? Number 2 is right in the middle. What are your products and services? What is the job you get done for your customer? You ought to be able to answer that very quickly. If you can't answer it quickly, you're going to need a little more think time to define that. John Maxwell had an office, and he said that he had a particular chair that was dedicated for thinking, and that if his assistant looked in his office and saw that he was in that chair, he was not to be disturbed because he was thinking. So get yourself a think chair and don't get out of it until you can answer that question very quickly. Number 3, channels. How do you communicate with your customer? What channel do you use? How do you deliver your value proposition? And then number 4 has to do with your customer relationships. You write in here, how does this show up? How do you understand? How do you see what your relationships are and how you maintain those relationships and improve those relationships? Then 5, these are your revenue streams. What are your top 3 revenue streams? And if you do things for free, add them there too. Number 6, what do you do every day to run your business model? What is it that is happening every day of your life, except maybe your day off, but then it's probably on your mind. And you get up in the morning, and before the end of the day, before you lay your head on your pillow at night, you will have done these things. Number 7 is what people, knowledge, means, money you need to run your business. We call them resources. And then who are your key partners in number 8? Who are these people? Not your suppliers, but people that you cannot do business without. And then you need to understand your costs. Number 9, list your top costs by looking at activities and resources. Now, if you're confused, that's fine, because we're going to flesh it out in the next slide when we see how A1 Laundromat looked at this. So Christina will do here. First, her segments were, and this is the segment of, and if I didn't make this clear, let me make it clear now. This is the segment of the population that she is targeting. And so she identified first 50% of those people that would come to her, or 50% of the population who are renters have no laundry service available to them. That's right. In the demographic of the community she lived in, 50% of the people had no available laundry equipment, ability to do their laundry. 50% of renters have it. 5% of homeowners have no laundry. What does that tell you about the segment of the population you're reaching? Not too many homeowners, but a lot of renters. And then the people that she was targeting primarily had an income less than $25,000, and they were ages 16 to 92. So if you take the age demographic, it's everybody. It's everybody. And then as we were discussing this amongst ourselves, we were talking about, you know, the proximity to university campuses where you have people living either on campus or right off campus, and students. So let's look at the next thing here, and it's the value propositions. What do you have to offer? What sets you apart? What makes you someone that everyone needs to do business with who is in one of those segments? And so A1 identified these: cleanliness. Now, when was the last time you walked into a laundromat? Every now and then, our equipment will go out at our home, and it also serves a business that we offer from home. And we have a 24-hour, really less than that, turnaround. It's got to be done. So a couple times in the last year, we've had to go to a large laundromat. And the question is, when you walk in, is the first thing you see, this is sure a clean place? Well, she decided that that was going to be the impression she wanted to give. And then she offered 24/7 access. They never closed. They accepted digital pay. You could put a card, a debit or a credit card into the machine, either one, and pay. People who do business with A1 did not have to set aside all the quarters they got, because it's getting harder to find change, especially as we pay for more things digitally. And you don't have to go to the bank and buy a roll of quarters and try that. She offered free Wi-Fi. People were sitting there, so the students could do their homework. The people who had a business could do their work. People that just wanted to play on the computer, they could do that, or play games. Had a video machine, kids' toys, very dependable machines. There weren't a lot of out of order signs on them. Multiple locations, and for every location, there was a consistent look. That branding, that look and feel was consistent across her platform. All of her 8 locations, you would know where you were. Okay, let's go to the next one and see what we fill in there. Channels. Brainstorm them and use every channel that works for you. Google, Facebook, Yelp, Yahoo, Bing. I think you could go on. These were channels through which she decided to communicate. So when you do your own canvas, just write it all down, all the channels that you can think of to use to communicate, and then investigate more. Okay, let's look at the next block. And that's gonna, where are we? Oh, yeah, your customer relationships. How are you gonna maintain your customer relationships and improve those relationships? A1 decided to use social media. She incorporated email, great customer service. When I stay at a place in LA called Podshare. When I go down there, it's a great spot right in Westwood Village. You get all the niceties of being in a nice community, a convenient community for where I need to do my business, and at the same time, I didn't have to pay $500 a night to be there. All I was going to do when I was checking in at night was sleep, and then get up, meet some nice people. First thing that happens when I would check into the Podshare, they say, "Would you like a towel?" I say, "Yeah, I could use a towel." Now I don't. I go down there, I don't have to carry my own towels. It's a little bit like camping. They said, "Well, if you check in on Facebook or if you check in on Instagram, there's no deposit. And if you don't, you can give us this deposit." And I said, checking in, and I have just, for the price of $1, those people have bought a free advertisement to everyone I'm connected with on social media. See, you leverage all those things. Think about them ahead of time, but also they communicate with me. They write me back. They see, how did it go? They stay in touch with me. They now have a channel to communicate with me and maintain a relationship with me. I also get emails from them. It's like I'm their old friend. You know, they text me. And they always give me great customer service. There's always somebody up. There's always a lot of people up because it's a university community. There's always something fun going on, by the way. They always have little extras, even though it is bare bones for sleeping. It's a great place. And that's the way A1 did their laundromat. And that's the way they keep communicating with their loyal customers. Now let's go to the next block and fill that in. Hopefully this is giving you some ideas. By the way, the best way to process these ideas you get is to have a SCORE mentor. We're volunteers, so it's not going to cost you. And you can bounce things off of us. And we may even have some ideas to share with you, but we want to walk with you through this journey. So the revenue streams, how are you going to make money? Well, she identified 3 ways that income would be coming in, the 3 main ways. Machine usage, and she had a 3-tier pricing with options. So as you add options, you add revenue. And then she made laundry supplies available. And then entertainment vending. And then also she decided that she could leverage the power of outside vendors, and we'll show you one in a moment, to increase her revenue. So how are you going to make money? Where are you going to make most of your money? Okay, now let's go to the next one. And what is it you do every day? Have you ever wondered, if you're in the laundry business, what do you do every day? Well, one of the things you do every day is respond to your customers every day. And so that's one of the key activities that drove the increase in her business. 99% response. And then they initiated a lost and found program. You ever lost something in a public place? How quickly did you get it back? Did you get it back? All right, next one. What are the resources, the key resources? Well, she had to have a place to have her laundromat, building, lease, equipment, tenant improvements. These were resources that she needed to invest in her business. Again, if any of this is confusing, how you apply it to yourself, we can walk with you through this in the mentoring sessions. And you can ask questions in a little while. So think about your questions, put them in the chat box, and we'll get our best answerer to answer them for you. Key partners. Well, she brought in a fluff and fold concession. Now that's a great idea, right? She didn't have to do that business. All she had to do was provide a corner and a table for a person who wanted to earn a little extra income and make it their own business to be available to fluff and fold laundry. The right vending machine operator who was reliable, who could keep things running. That is a key partner if you're in that kind of business. Just like I was talking with someone the other day about how important it was when you're running an office to have a good service plan on your office equipment, like your photocopiers. You know, how crippled you can be in your business if those things go down. If she was going to maintain a clean service, she needed a good janitorial service. She needed a good pest control service. She employed a social media manager. Equipment manufacturer had to be the best. A CPA, an attorney, an electrician, a plumber. Think about the partners that you're going to need to have in place as you develop this business. Write it down. Write it down. Okay. Then I believe we're left with cost structure. And she determined that she was looking at 3 turns a day per machine. She would have to budget for utilities, for lease, for debt, and what percentage of her business would go to that and what percentage of her business would go to management. Determined that 15% of all sales would end up in management costs. Now you can do this. I know you can do this, and this is going to help you. And this is going to provide the basis for you pulling this information out and putting it in a more developed business plan. Now let's look at the next slide, and see where we are. I believe that this is where I turn it back over to my honored colleague, Mr. Garcia.
Well, thanks, Tom. That was very informative. As you can see, there can be a lot to it, but involved in your business, these are questions that are all answerable. We just want them to be the right answer. So the next steps, practice makes perfect. Let's try this exercise again at home with your ideas. We encourage you to search the internet for business model canvas examples. And when you're ready to review your canvas and your supporting documentation, get with your SCORE mentor. We can help you with this to identify and pinpoint the areas that you really need to key in on to make your business successful. Next slide, please. So what will you learn? What a business model canvas is and how to use it. And we are going to talk about something that's SMART, an acronym for scientific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals. And we want you to do this in 90 days, and SCORE can help you do this. You need to set up goals for yourself, but they need to be specific. And how do you measure whether you have got the answer or not? And certainly the goals need to be achievable, where they become realistic, and they need to be timely. You need to give yourself, and as this example we're going to show you is 90 days for your goals, and we call it SMART. Next slide, please. So we're going to, as a group, we're going to give you an example of this. We'll review your goals and help you understand the type of information we're looking for. And we have a template that we want you to look at. Next slide. And it's going to look like this. And you can use any type of template you want. This is just an example of what we're going to use to show you what we're talking about. We're going to list your goals. You need to have an action to achieve that goal. You need to give yourself a due date. And you need to determine what that outcome will be. What are you looking for? Does it answer your question? And at the bottom, we're going to do talk about some assumptions and the risks that you have while listing your goal and trying to find out what the answer is. Next slide, please. So determine your plan and what's your due date. Again, if you're in business, 90 days. Anything longer than that, I think the information may be convoluted. But as an example of a goal, better understand my customer. Well, how would you better understand your customer? Well, the action may be you can do an indoor survey, or you can do a survey online. There's a number of ways that you can do that. You can even hire somebody to take a survey to see if you are meeting your customer's needs. And the outcome, collect 50 plus surveys, or you can collect results from 100 clients. But you need to set a definitive amount of time and paperwork that you can to get to determine that if you have answered your goal. Increase profitability by 2%. Doesn't sound like much, but you know, if you have revenue of $1 million a year, which is not, it sounds like a lot, but you'd be surprised the number of small businesses who actually do that. That's what, about $20,000 extra if you can increase profitability by 2%. Well, how do you do that? Well, obviously, if you can decrease costs and if your revenue volume stays the same, but what about increasing revenue volume? How do you do that? Well, maybe you expand your services and products that you're going to sell. Perhaps you expand to a second location. And the outcome, try A and B marketing and track outcomes, identify alternative suppliers. Maybe you can get better costs from somebody else. It's not unusual to have your suppliers compete with each other for your business, and it's something that you should try and examine. Identify new revenue streams. In research into similar businesses, plan to launch at least 2 trial programs. You know, identifying new revenue streams could be as simple as opening a second location. I had a customer who was an Italian restaurant in the northwest area of Fresno, long established, very popular. And he thought he'd open a second location towards Clovis, but he didn't know if he would be attracting new customers in that area or if they're already coming to him. So he did a very simple survey. At the end of each meal, one of his customers, the waiter or waitress, would ask each of the clients what their zip code was. Simple as that. At the end of 30 days, he just collected them to see where his clients are coming from. And he decided that opening a second location in a second zip code, he was already tracking those people. Opening a second location was not going to help. So it can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be very scientific, but you need to determine how you're going to, what action you're going to do to come to a decision on your goal. In this case, identifying new revenue streams. Summary results and top choices, canvas for each idea, and launch plans for the top 2 or 3 options. What are the assumptions here? That your customers are satisfied and will provide honest feedback for you. The risks are that there will be poor results. So you need to be smart about this. Neither marketing programs may help. You need to have confidence in that your survey is not only out there, but it is worded correctly. And it is, and the questions will give you the answers to help you understand what you're trying to achieve. Next slide, please. So the next steps that we're also asking you to do, search the internet for examples for SMART goal settings and use what you learn to improve your plan. Apply for a SCORE mentor. And when you receive this, a copy of this, you'll be able to click on this link here, score.org, find a mentor. And when you get a mentor, discuss your plans with a mentor and decide, to take a break, pursue your dream. There are no wrong answers. Should you attend our Simple Steps for Starting Your Business, at the end of each class, we have a go or no-go decision. And we ask you what you've learned, is what you learned in this session, do you still want to go forward with your plan to open a business? Or what you've learned, you've decided that you're not ready. It's a go and no-go decision that we ask you at the end of every session, and you build on it. The Simple Steps for Starting Your Business will take you from A to Z, from the concept, like I said, all the way to opening the doors. So your mentor will help you and discuss with you after each class, if you want, what you found out, what you can do if you think you're short, if you think you're not prepared, what you can do to be prepared. So it begins on June 3rd. It starts at 10 o'clock. And you can register here. Next slide, please. So what is SCORE? Let me put in a plug for SCORE. Like we've said before, we're over 400 chapters in the United States with over 13,000 volunteers. We offer SCORE mentoring. It's a big part of what we do and the webinars that we're presenting. We can't make decisions for you, but we hope to shepherd you, guide you, and give you the benefit of our experience. Like I said, Tom, my co-chair for Central Valley SCORE, is an expert on nonprofit organizations, corporations. I actually worked in a nonprofit, but my background is banking and lending. We have a number of other volunteers that from various backgrounds that can help answer your questions and make suggestions for you, but we will not make any decisions. We cannot provide any tax or legal advice, but we can give you guidance on what may be the best route, either to open your business or if you're already in business, expand your business. Next slide, please. So what other options are available to you? We would encourage you to pursue the business model canvas and try it out. Utilize the SCORE Startup Roadmap. If you go to SCORE Startup Roadmap, you can Google this. You'll come to a landing page that gives you 12 chapters. And again, it will provide you with information as to how to start a business plan, how to make projections, marketing, advertising, legal, a number of things. It's very, very informational. We suggest anybody who has not started a business yet to take a look at it and to consider the other resources available to SCORE clients. SCORE.org is a plethora of information, and it is an invaluable resource for people. Even if you're in business and you have a question, you can use that as a resource to get that question answered. Next slide, please. So like I said, your success is our goal. Your success is our success. And we'll do everything we can to help you successful and be successful because it's good advertising for us, but for you, it's a big benefit. Nothing is more beneficial to your community than a successful business, a business that is profitable, paying taxes, employing people who are in turn doing the same thing and contributing to the community. Next slide, please. Again, 400 chapters across the United States, 13,000 volunteers providing seminars, workshops, free mentoring, and a plethora of resources for small business. Last slide, please. So how do you get a SCORE mentor? If you go to score.org, on the landing page at the bottom, you'll see these 3 boxes. You can, the middle box, you can put in a term. Let's say you have legal issues, and you can search for mentors across the United States and they'll give you a list of people who are experts in the field of legal stuff, if for lack of a better phrase, and you can communicate them by email. If you want to actually get a mentor, use the left box, enter your zip code. You will be contacted within 48 hours via email, and you'll be able to be assigned a mentor and be able to talk to him or her about whatever business questions you have. Last slide, please. And our poll, Christina?
Bob, Tom, if you can please launch the exit poll before we get to the Q&A. And if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat and we'll read them out to our facilitators. And Tom, if you can please read the questions, please, for the exit poll.
We would really like to know if you found today's webinar helpful. Yes or no? Are you now working with a SCORE mentor? That's yes or no. And do you plan to request a mentor, or you already have a mentor? That would be great too. And we'll give you about 30 seconds to fill out that poll. And as Mr. Rogers would say, we'll do the counting. That's about 30 seconds. By the time I get through saying that, it will be 30 seconds, and I will end the polling and give you the results. And the results are, everybody found it helpful. We're grateful for that. We're here to help, and we want to see you succeed. 30% of you are now working with a SCORE mentor, and 70% are not. Half of you do plan to request a mentor, and only 20% do not. The other 30% have a mentor already. So we're glad. We look forward to meeting you and to having a conversation with you, and really being a part of your business journey. As Robert said, your success is our success. And that's all we exist for, is to help you start a great business. Now, we're going to entertain your questions and hopefully have some answers. If we don't have answers, we're going to be able to get them. So did anybody have a question that popped into their mind while you were listening to this webinar? And you know what, I'm going to open it up. If you want to type in your question, you can do that. But Christina will make it possible for you to unmute yourself. If you want to just get our attention, we'll recognize you and let you ask the question out loud. Thank you for that compliment. iPhone.
Everybody is able to unmute themselves, so feel free to do so.
It's nice to have a group this size where we can do that. And we have Peter Fong here. He's our district director, so he's the grand poobah of SCORE for a big part of California, and whatever I can't imagine there's anything Robert doesn't know, but if there is, Peter knows it. Between us, we know everything, except what we don't know.
Tom, I just want to mention that, and I've said it, I said it here today, and I've said it before, and I always say it to the people that I mentor, that making a business plan, whether you are already in business or whether you're starting a business, it turns out to be very invaluable. We think of it as a living document, because when you start a business as a previous business owner, you will find that things change suddenly, and that the things you thought were going to happen often don't. And if you go back to your business plan, you can see how it affects your other plans down the road. So it's a living document. It's something that should be changed and reviewed often. And of course, once you get established, you may look at it once a year. But if you think about it, every large corporation always comes out with projections on how they're going to do with revenue expenses. And oftentimes their stocks go up and down depending on how their projections turn out. It's the same thing with small business. You need to make your projection. You need to plan ahead. And we encourage people to make a business plan, and it starts with this business model canvas. It really does.
And I would say never throw away your blank canvases. Always keep some, for note keeping. And one of the things I've learned from my wife, actually, who has always been by my side with the administrative things in our nonprofit and for-profit businesses, is that every time you launch a new aspect of your business or your nonprofit, it is good to do a business plan for that dimension, for that new program. So she has been like a taskmaster in my life for getting new business plans. Thank you. I believe it's Monica for that, and Carrie. For those, any other questions you want to write or ask out loud, or anything you want us to pursue a little bit?
Just the backdrop of SCORE and what we provide our clients out there today, especially today. The way you do business today has forever changed because of COVID and moving forward. Most businesses fail. It's probably the most difficult thing to do is to put your ideas down on paper. In order to have your partners help you at SCORE, or if you need a bank loan or any partnership you're going to have, it'd be nice to know what direction you're going in so people can help you. And again, you're taking a journey through life, which is very complicated at times financially, and challenging personally in your personal life and your commitment to your business. And we encourage you to do what's called a SWOT analysis to see where your strengths and weaknesses are. And especially if you're married, do them separately and then look at them together. Like Tom says, if you're going the journey along with a spouse in your business, it'd be nice to know where you're going and just putting in all these hours and then showing up and what'd you do today. So having your family understand what it takes to start a business, it's challenging. It's not for everybody, but it's rewarding if you can get a business started at some point in time. Many may be in business and plateau in 2 or 3 years. So SCORE is here on a continuing process as you grow, because you will plateau. And do you stagnate and close, or do you move on and grow? So that's where we can help you. And you don't have to go to loan. SCORE provides these services at no cost to you. And again, these are all dedicated people. Bob and Tom have their lives to do and people they deal with, but more importantly, they're sacrificing their time and value that we share with them to help you. So please, any question you may have, and if you do leave and you still have a question, just go in there and request a mentor, and just having a conversation like we're having today is sometimes you'll find very rewarding and helpful for you.
Can I put in just one more plug for Simple Steps? This has been a fast overview. This is like, a drone floating over the field, looking down. In simple steps, we dig into each of these subjects. You need simple steps to really flesh out your business plan, or maybe to revisit the one you already have. It's amazing how much information you're going to get from those sessions. And it's going to be really specific, and it's going to be very helpful. And then if you participate in a session of simple steps, and then during the week, get with your mentor to process it and to apply it, you've got something extremely valuable. And I didn't even know this existed a year ago. And now I'm totally immersed in it and committed to it. It's been great being with you. Christina, it doesn't look like we have anything else. Robert, Peter?
I don't have anything else. Peter?
I'll be sure to send everybody the PowerPoint and also the SWOT analysis that Peter talked about. And then the business model canvas, a blank copy for everybody so you can download. Okay. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.